morning, everyone. This is Cheryl from Porch Talk. Today, a happy Saturday. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. So today, first of all, I want to start off by asking you for your support. Please subscribe, like, share, and if you could leave a comment, I would really, really love that. And I will answer comments if you leave one, okay? But today is a blessed day. Oh my goodness, beautiful weather. Sun's getting ready to come up over those trees, so I'm going to try to make it a little bit shorter today because I kind of got a late start. Um, but today I wanted to do a talk on the power of I am. So I made a whole bunch of these stones, and then I would put like I am love. I would put just all kind of little things together. But I made them, for hope. I did these years ago, and they were really fun to make, and I'm gonna make more. I told you I'm an artist, so I do, I make stuff. That's what I do. Um, Also, too, if you love my necklace that I'm wearing, and as I've said in my talks previously, I wear my necklace, which is gorgeous. You can see it shines. It matches all colors, anything that you wear. This one is the clear. The clear one, it does have a slight backing on it, but it shows up if you wear dark. It has a really pretty dark background, but I can make them in all different colors. And these are just examples to show you. This one is, and I don't know if the camera will do it justice. This is so pretty. The camera does not do it justice, may I add, but it's a sunset color, and it just reflects. It looks like a sunset around your neck. It's really, really gorgeous. Did that on a silver chain, and of course, I can do those in gold as well. And then I have another gold one that's very, very similar to what I have, but has a slightly pink hue to it. Same thing, all the iridescent. You can wear it with anything. And I made what's called it's a safety pin pattern chain, but those will be for sale. And also, I'm getting some cards. I don't have prices on stuff yet, but I will very soon. So when I do, I'll let you know about that. But I thought today I was going to do a completely different talk, but I felt like I needed to do a talk on the power of I am. So, um, first of all, you know that I love this saying right here. This is one of my favorites, and it says, I am free to make my own choices. We can do that every single day. Thank goodness, right? And I just think that is, such a wonderful thing. And I don't think that people realize that sometimes, that they have the power in their hands to choose which direction their life will go for the day, or, anytime things are going bad, you need to say, I have the power to make my own choices and choose the direction in life that I want to go. And another one that I love is I am constantly growing and evolving into a better person. So hopefully, as we go along in life, we evolve into a more knowledgeable, caring, loving, giving person, and we it, it, make better choices so that we don't, you know, have to, um, learn from our mistakes. Learning from your mistakes is good, but not making them is even better, right? Yep. And another great one, and when you do make mistakes, this is a great one. It says, I am resilient and can, oh, I have to read it, I'm sorry, and can conquer any challenges. So a lot of times we have issues and we have problems in life, and it leaves you feeling powerless. But people have to realize that they have all the power. They have all the power. Stuff may happen to you, but it is what you do with the challenges in your life that define how it affects your life. So have a good attitude. Be the power of I am. I have the power to make my own choices. It's super, wonderful thing to remember. Um, and I love this one too. It says, I am strong, I am confident, and I am peaceful. In the ebb and flow in life, sometimes we don't feel powerful, and um, we don't feel strong, and feel like life is coming against us. And Some people will rise to the challenges, and other people will shrink and just hide and not. Challenges are opportunities for us to grow and to learn, and that's something I feel is so important. Is that people don't allow themselves to be forged into something more. Going through the fires of life is painful. It is, no doubt. But when you sit down and you examine stuff and you figure out why that happened and learn, you'll grow from it. And maybe you can sidestep some problems. You'll know how to not fall into the hole. Because if you don't know what you don't know, you very possibly could, make a mistake, and then you have to deal with it for a long, long time. But so I love that I am strong, I am confident, and I am peaceful. So you choose peace, you don't choose chaos. Uh, I went with a friend of mine last night. We had a good time. We went and ate dinner at a very nice local place, and then we went to the little, I guess it's attached bar outdoor. So we had a glass of wine there. It was crazy. It was crazy. It reminds me of how unpeaceful people really are. Sure, it was fun. I enjoyed it, but there were some people in particular that were in a moment of chaos, and wow, it reminded me of where I don't want to be really. I don't mind going to those places every once in a while, but I'm going to tell you the ish that it throws on you. You feel like you need to take a shower when you get home, you know. Plus, there's people actually smoking there. Ugh. But super interesting experience. I will always, go and observe the behavior because I'm a people watcher and I love to do that. But yeah, there was some stuff going on. I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not in that scene anymore. And you know what? I used to be. I used to be. I was, but I chose to withdraw myself out of it because it was getting me in freaking trouble. My butt was catching on fire every time I went there. It was not good. But so I love this card very much because, and it says, I am strong and I am worthy and I am enough, because the world will tell you you're not. We look at social media. We look at, I'm not that pretty. I don't have all that going on. So there's a lot of illusions I feel in life where people are trying to, if you want to call it, keep up with the Joneses, and uh, the world can make you feel like you're weak. It can make you feel like you're unworthy. It can make you feel just like you're an average nothing person, and it causes you to hide out and not participate in life because you can't. It feels like you can't reach the world's bar. But the good news is that you're the one who sets your bar. You are. And you if you choose to follow the world, then you have to go that route. But I choose not to, because when I look at the world, there's a lot of ugliness, there's a lot of hurt, and we cannot help for it not to splash on us some, but we can choose how we react and how we respond to it. And I think that's super important. But believing that you're enough, you're enough. You were put on the earth here. God loved you and put you on the earth, and we're worthy. We're worthy of His love and His forgiveness and His mercy every day. And you're strong. You were meant to, pardon me, you were meant to come here and be strong and a powerful soul. But the only way you can do it is through learning and making mistakes. Pardon me, but not being foolish. So hopefully, as we grow and we learn, our mistakes will become not quite so foolish. That comes with age, I feel like, but it also comes with retrospection of things that you have done, and you're like, oh no, I'm not repeating that one again. So I mean, a lot of it is, you have to take the time to retrospect, and I am intelligent and focused. So we all have different levels of intelligence, I guess you could say, different smarts or whatever, but one person isn't really smarter than the other. And I tell you, from somebody, I just graduated from high school, I went to cosmetology school, but through the internet, which the internet can have good purposes, and with me it did, I looked at every subject that interests me and I learned everything I could. And I feel like my education is just as good as a book learned education. Plus, I have experience in life too. I've lived a lot of experiences, and I really, you know, developed my spiritual intelligence, and I've learned not to focus on the blathering that's going on around me coming from the world. I want to focus on me. I want to focus on, the things that I'm put here on earth to do, about expanding my um, my love for God, and my ability to help people is super important. But when you focus on everything but those things, that's where you lose your focus. And then when it's kind of like when you're not focused, you close the door. You know what, though? Let me take that back. I take it back. You open the door for everything to come in and unplug you from being focused, from who you're going, from your spiritual path. So I think it's really important that that you remain focused. It's like living your life with purpose. It's the same type thing. Having that zero in, you got to stay focused. Now, not obsessive, but focused on what your goals are, and don't let people throw you off that. And people will try, because people don't want you to grow, because when you grow away from them. People want to seat you next to them and all the ish that's going on in their life, and they want you to participate in it and become that. And it's easy to do because you got friends, you're having a good time, I mean, whatever the case may be. But then, stuff eventually blows up if you don't have your head on straight. You don't have your headspace correct. So that's very important. And sure, going out and having fun is I think, a necessary part of life. But staying focused is super important. Yeah, and staying focused on your goals, staying focused on where you're going, staying focused on whatever it is that uh, you know that you're interested in. Another thing that I love is, so in life, once you get a little time under your belt, it says, I do not let my mistakes um, define me. Um, oh Lord, what would happen if people defined me by all my mistakes? Um, Thank God that there's not a list that you carry around with you, or that's tattooed on your back or paper. But it feels like when you do make mistakes, that's what happens. You feel like everybody knows and everybody can see the mistakes that you learn. I tell you what they should see. This is what they should see. They should see that you learned your lessons, and that, yes, you made mistakes, but you learned your lessons, you moved forward. And what they should see is your knowledge, your wisdom, and the mercy that you have on other people who are presently making mistakes. That's super important. So um, don't let your mistakes shrink you down. Sit with yourself, pray about it, learn, get your lesson, move forward. Always moving forward. And this one I love too. And it says, my past may be ugly, but I am still gorgeous. And so, because you make a mistake, it doesn't make you unworthy. It doesn't make you um, unacceptable. It doesn't make you an ugly person. It makes you a human. We all live in our human bodies, and our spirits are put here with our bodies, and we're in the school of life, if you want to call it that. And so we all, are set on this path, and we make mistakes. You only know what you know. And you know what? I was not a religious person, or took any time to follow what was inside of me, because I don't think there was anything inside of me for a long time because of very traumatic childhood experiences that I had. And I know a lot of people that like that who are, just traumatized from their childhood and their past. And it's like it holds them, it locks them in there, and they hold on to those mistakes. And a lot of people, this is the really sad part to me, people will say, oh, I'm no good. I'm damaged goods. People are going to know about my mistakes. I'm not worthy. I'm not lovable. And it's not true. We're human. We're human. And hopefully, this circle of people that you have around you, your support system, are all people that have made mistakes too. We all have made mistakes, but it's people that will support you and love you and help you. Um, Sometimes that doesn't always work out that way. I left home very early, and I pretty much had to figure it out on my own. I had to figure it out on my own. And I had a mother who, I'm sure you may have, if you've watched Mother Talks, that told me that it didn't matter what I did in life, that all I had to do was be pretty, and I would be taken care of. A man would take care of me. Oh, I tried that. Multiple marriages, a lot of dating in between. Nope, it didn't work because I had no focus on who I was. I had no relationship with God. I was just focused on emulating my mother, who was a very beautiful woman. And that's what she did. Maybe that's what her mama told her. I don't know. I didn't know my grandma very well. And I'm sad about that. I knew her when I was young, but I didn't know her as, any kind of adult material. I saw her sew and yodel and cook. And so, I loved all those things about her, but I didn't know anything about her life really. But she must have impressed that upon my mother, because my mother was really beautiful. I mean, like Hollywood movie star beautiful. And that's what she did. She focused on her beauty and didn't focus on herself. And as I've stated before, we all know this. I'm 65 now. I'm not saying that my looks have faded. I'm saying that they've changed. But there's another kind of beauty that has come out of me. And yes, I still feel like I have my looks, but I want the beauty that I have in my soul and the energy that I have to shine through to people. And also, I have a relationship with God. I have a relationship with my Maker, and I know that I am loved and held by Him every day. And so I know that ebbs and flows in life, things change, and we have to go with the changes. Or, you know what? You hold on to your memories, you live in your past, you become bitter, you become angry, and you just disconnect from life and give up. And I don't want to go out like that. I'm not going out like that. My mother did it, and it was very hard for me to watch. And I love her very much, and I bless her. I know that she's in a better place, hopefully with my father, whom she really loved. And I hope that she has some kind of peace. She went through a very, very traumatic childhood as well. But, you can't let your mistakes define you, and just because you've made ugly mistakes in the past, it doesn't mean you're an ugly person or a throwaway, is what I call it. I think it's, important that you place value in you. God placed enough value on you to send you down here so that you can learn and experience life just like He did. So I tell you, you create your value, learn from your experiences, grow, and develop that relationship with God, and that will carry you through your life as your life changes. And it does change. Like I say, I'm 65, I'm in a different season than younger people are, but I love where I'm at. I love where I'm at. And well, I still feel really good. I still feel fairly fit. I lost 144 pounds on GLP, so I've gotten myself back into physical conditioning, going to start working out in the gym, because I know that the next 20, I plan on living forever. I plan on living forever. I hope that somewhere in science, I can live forever and they can make me age backwards. but I'm going to cherish each day that God has given me to be here, because it's not promised to us. But when we do get it, Glory, hallelujah. We have a new day to paint a new picture on our own canvas, to write in the journal about our life, to what our life is going to be like. All right. The book isn't given to us. It's not a script. We write the script. So super important. Another thing that I love is I will not worry about what I can't control. So there's a lot of truth in that. A lot of people worry about, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? So a certain part of life is not in our control. It's not. And you have to be willing to trust yourself and realize that not everything is going to be, like, say, controllable. And with letting go of things, you have to trust your judgment. You have to trust that God is taking you in the right direction. And you have to realize that controlling things sometimes is a bad thing. When you are a control person, you have to control every single step along the way. You become a rigid person. I'm not saying that structure isn't a good routine, but it's not a good thing to do every day, because once you do that, you become a robot, right? Get up, go to work all day, come home, cook dinner, do the laundry, go to sleep. If you sleep your 8 hours, hopefully you're meditating and you're praying and you're feeding your soul and yourself. Because if you're not, your gas tank is going to run out of gas and you're going to burn out, and then you got that issue. But when you're flexible in life and say, God, use me today to be of service, I'm going to love people, I'm going to create my own environment, I'm gonna use my energy and my love for people and create happiness and create, I am happiness, I am peace, all of these, I am hope, I am love. I love this one. I am love. You are love. So, but that is a mindset, and you got to have the right headspace for it, but through prayer and meditation, reading your Bible, looking at these cards, I watch Stoicism. I love Stoicism. I watch all kind of talks that kind of put my brain in a positive go forward motion. I don't watch the news anymore. I've stopped doing that because it was consuming my soul. And I was just like, oh my God, what's going to happen today? Are we going to get bombed? I hear planes. I heard planes going over. I live in Kings Bay, over by Kings Bay, the military base. Every time I'd hear a plane go over, I would be like, this is it. They're coming for us, No, I'm not going to live my life that way. Not going to live my life. I am powerful, and I can choose how I react to situations. Super important. And then you have the confidence to be yourself. This is hard. A lot of people just go, oh well, willy-nilly. You let life happen to you. And you know what? You have to trust. You have to trust your decisions. You have to trust that it's okay to be you. And that you've learned enough life experience, you've had enough life experience that you can cultivate your confidence and realize that being yourself instead of wearing a mask and being a person that you're not is really sad. When you see me, you're 9 times out of 10 going to see me smiling. You're going to see me with pleasant countenance, is that what they say? I'm always going to talk to people. I never scowl. And I wonder, when I see people go by and they're scowling, if they ever see themselves in the mirror and they think about the impression that they're leaving, in the world around them. So when I go places, I want people to feel my vibration of positivity, of love, of God, everything. But I see people who sit there and they're just scowly, what I call scowly. And you feel the negative energy, and you almost feel like it's a terrible thing. I watch people, and it's such a waste of your spirit and your time on earth. although I judge not, because you never know where people are at on their journey. And I understand that. And I pray for those people. Last night there was a man, and he was sitting at the end of the bar having a glass of wine, and my friend and I saw him, older gentleman, but he looked very sad. And so we went over and we talked to him and said, "Hey, how are you doing?" And he revealed to us, and I said, "You're here alone?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "I just lost my wife and my daughter. Like within 6 months, his wife and his daughter both died and passed away." And he's so sad. And I just felt his sadness pour into my soul. And I felt so bad. And he was trying not to cry. He was probably drank a lot of alcohol. He probably goes there a lot. I don't know, because I don't frequent bars. But, I just said, "We'll pray for you." And, and just I rubbed his back for him, and just touched him, and hopefully my vibration and my love, and my healing went through my hands to him. And he just stared at me and my friend all night. I think because he saw the joy in us. But before we left, we talked to him, and blessed him, and said, "We'll pray for you, and I hope that things get better for you." And I said, you need to pray. You need to pray to God to lift this burden off you, to learn your lesson. I said, sometimes life is hard. In that case, oh my God, how hard. I don't know how he lost his wife and daughter. I don't know if it was a car accident or whatever, but he showed me pictures. He showed me their grave sites, and it really touched me, and I thought, I don't have any challenges in life. This man sitting right here is all by himself now. He has no family, and it looks like he has no God to go with. Again, I don't know his situation, but I felt the tragedy of his circumstances. And that's a lot of times why I don't frequent places like that, is because there's so many hurting people. Pardon me, I'm going to take a drink. So many hurting people. And we all have our ish to deal with, but when we're watching people overconsume alcohol and make total fools of themselves, women who are they're throwing their crown down when they have too much to drink, and they go out on the floor and they're just acting out in ways that takes away the gloriousness of the queens that we are. And men, just you could see them just devouring this one woman in particular, just seeing that as a person that they could take advantage of. It was very hard to watch. And it, but she's on her journey. She has to go through that. And I feel for her, because I went down that journey before. I've had that journey before. And it gets you nowhere except for people around you disrespect you, and you get abused and used. And who wants to do that? But those situations create the regret that you choke on when you're my age. And then you have to look at your life and you review it and you go, what was I thinking? I could have had a V8, But again, if you don't do it, you don't learn it. And I have many friends who I have a friend who's had a crazy life, and has done all kind of things that he's totally regretted in his life, but he's totally changed his life around, and he's a God-centered, God-fearing man. And I love that about this person, that everybody has the different kind of tragedies, but you know what, he's grasped onto his spirit, and he's changed his life. And I love that. Giovanni, you're a special person. You really are. And he's working very hard, and I love that, because getting to the next stage and the next place, it's hard, because you go through the dark night of the soul. You're trying to figure stuff out. You just feel like, am I abandoned? What do I do? Do I go completely, one way? A lot of times I feel like if I had continued to choose the path that I was on, that I would already be dead. And I know my friend Giovanni, he's told me about things that have happened in his life. And I just feel like if he had continued on in the path that he had, young man that he is, that it would have taken him down a path of destruction, because destruction only ends this way. So in life, I really feel like, if you choose to get in the vehicle and be a crash dummy or crash test dummy, you're going to hit the wall. Drugs, alcohol, overindulgence, not having your mind straight, it all leads to destruction. So I choose not to be destructive. I choose to love myself, because I am the person who creates my own life. And I love this one. It says, I care about myself. And I hope that every day that you are here on this earth, that you learn that caring for yourself and loving yourself, because sometimes you feel like nobody does, but everything that you need to be whole or to become whole was born within us. It was written on our souls. The only thing you have to do is reach out, and you have to cultivate it. Cultivating love and care for yourself, like I said, it's cultivating. It's like a garden. You got to go out and weed your garden. You got to, you have to fertilize it. And fertilization to me is God, is sitting in nature and feeling, the world, that nature shower you. I call it prana. In the spiritual community, it says, getting that prana, it's the love and the energy from the earth. You just let it fill you. It can be the love of God that fills you. It can be the love of Jesus. I mean, everybody has their different, method, but, I just feel like this, back to the original thing. It says, I am free. Free. You're free to make your own choices. Nobody makes you make your choices. You do. You do. And you make them, if you make them in moments of spiritual counsel, and you make them purposefully and constructively, and you slow down. And I know that's hard when you're younger in life, and believe me, I am not saying that I lived that life, because I did not. I was the wild child. I was the wild thing, all right? People used to call me wild thing. I used to love to go to bars, dance, party. I mean, I was the party girl. And now I find that when I live my life with intent and with purpose, I have a joy in my soul that nothing in this world can give it to me. All right, nothing can give it to me. So I wish you. I have a card I want to share. Oh, and I have these cards. I know I probably have showed them before, but the cards that you see me using in my talks, all of these, I've ordered some packs of these, and so I will be offering them. I think I mentioned them before, but I will be offering those because they are super helpful. You know what? If you just take one card out a day, and you look at it and ponder what that says and pray on it, it's gonna make a huge difference. But I love this one. One of my favorite cards. Excuse me, I got a dry throat from talking.